5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello humans, Retro Rocket Man here. What we've got today is a typical 12-inch skeleton you can find in any $2 shop. His head swivels, his mouth opens and closes, his arms and legs are all on a pretty simple hinge joint. His elbows bend, his knees bend, his wrists and ankles, and he's pretty detailed for the price. And what I want to do today is have a go at zombifying him. I'm going to start by gluing his loose joints with hot glue because I'm going to have him in a pretty static sort of a pose, so I don't want him to be flailing around, making it difficult for me to add all the extra detail I want to do. I'm going to start by using some offcuts from a previous project where I used a spray expander foam in a can, and these are offcuts from that project. And they have this great texture that will emulate rotting human flesh. So I'm just going to hot glue various random pieces to different parts of the skeleton just to flesh him out a bit. I'm going to make a lot of disgusting stuff like old guts and torn muscles and rendered flesh, and then I will paint it up so it looks more like rendered flesh and torn muscles and gooey bits. So I've just randomly stuck the foam pieces to the skeleton. As you can see, it's certainly starting to make him look more like a zombified creature as opposed to a just bones, if you like. Now it's time to paint up all the fleshy bits, flesh them out if you like. So naturally I'm just going to hit these areas with a red acrylic just to make it look gooier. With the painting completed, now I've simply wrapped a few layers of glad wrap or cling wrap around the foamed areas. What I'll be doing is heating these areas up with a heat gun and making it contract and shrink and blister to give the effect of rotting skin. So just using a low heat, being just glad wrap, it's quite thin and melts quite quickly, so just moving it around, not hovering over one place for too long on the low heat is sufficient enough to make it shrink and contract and blister and give you that effect of rancid skin. Quite disgusting really, but that's the effect I'm after. You could literally see the plastic shrink and contort over the sculpted areas, and the effect is really quite dramatic. I'm only using this heat setting on the lower setting. Certainly do not want to burn or melt the skeleton. Here we have the end result. Now, it looks quite disgusting really, and the plastic has stiffened and hardened. It ain't going anywhere. Time to give the skin a bit of a fleshy colour, so I'm simply using oil-based paint for this one, just to make sure that it sticks to the cling wrap. And here's the final result. Again, now it looks more like rotting skin, a little less transparent. Not totally, you can still kind of see through it in certain areas, but it certainly gives me the effect I'm after. Time now to stick some hair on his scalp. The look I'm going after is just clumps of hair still protruding through what's left of his scalp, and to give it a very matted and scary look. So I'm just using a super glue type product and sticking clumps of hair in various places randomly around the scalp, just to give it that extra creepy look. As you can see now, it's looking decidedly creepier than it was before. It's quite a random look, and I'm going to be brushing this down to make it cling to the skull more. I'm using a PVA glue and water mix. This will make the hair look slimy and wet and make it stay in one place, style it into a scary, gooey looking skeleton. Now for another effect, I'm using red wool that I've pulled apart, pulled the plies apart and stretched them out, and these will emulate sinew and veins by using the same mixture of PVA glue and water. I'm not only just sticking it to the skeleton structure, but I'm also making it look a lot more like veins. This is a previous technique I used when I was making fake eyeballs. Very effective. by randomly placing the wool over the skinned areas, and also creating an extra layer or texture on the body. It looks like veins running through the skin. Now using the hot glue, I'm making streaks of goo that are running down over its face. When this dries, it'll look like sinew and ooze, all sorts of disgusting stuff. I'm also applying the same method to the rest of the body as well, just to give it even more gooey loveliness. Quite a dramatic look, I think. Just gives it that extra scary, creepy vibe. Time to paint the dried glue, just to make it look more like blood, coagulated blood that's dried and thickened after it's run down the face of the skeleton, just to give it more of a horrifying look, just to tie it in with the effects that I've created on the rest of the body. There you go, fellow humans, this is Retro Rocket Man with a Halloween themed project where I've turned a standard $2 shop skeleton into Walking Dead. So this is Retro Rocket Man, we'll see you in the next one, over and out.